What's up, guys? D-Rock 1992 here. Excuse me. So for this next video, and for my next movie review, I am going to be talking about a movie that came out in 2004, which was a remake of a 1960 classic film. The last movie review that I did, and this movie is The Alamo, the 2004 version. So you can go back and look at my 1960 version, my 1960 Alamo review, and I think it's a very good movie. I think that movie is a very good movie for sure. So the studio, now the Hollywood remade The Alamo. And again, I'm not going to get too much into the plot because it basically follows the Battle of the Alamo for sure. So this time, I'm going to be talking about five main characters. Dennis Quaid stars as Sam Houston. There was a guy who starred as Sam Houston in the 1960 Alamo. Here's my cat. But this guy, the guy who starred as Sam Houston in the 60 version, just wasn't a major player, so I didn't really talk about him. Here I'm going to talk about him. So Dennis Quaid stars as Sam Houston. Billy Bob Thornton stars as Davy Crockett. Jason Patric stars as Jim Bowie. Patrick Wilson plays William Barrett Travis. And then Emilio Echeverria plays Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, the main antagonist of the film, and the Mexican general who is very formidable. So, and again, Santa Anna was not a prominent player in the Alamo 1960 version, but here he is. So, these five performances are all very good. I will say that right now. With the standout probably being Dennis Quaid and Billy Bob Thornton. I think Quaid does a great job as Sam Houston. Thornton he's not as dynamic as John Wayne for me, but Billy Bob Thornton does a great job as Davy Crockett. He really does. I think Jason Patric does a good job as James Bowie. Patrick Wilson does a good job as William Barrett Travis. And although Emilio Echeverria does not speak a word of English, well, actually, not very much English in the Alamo, he still does a great job as the menacing Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna in this movie. So, five central performances really power this film. But the main and I'll say this right now, I love this film. I have watched it a few times now. I've watched it a few times before, and it's a great film for me. Probably the biggest reason why I like the film is the battle sequences. They look so good on the big screen and all that, the siege of the Alamo and the battle between the Mexicans and Texans, especially the final sequence. Like the 1960 version of the Alamo, the 2004 version has a great closing battle sequence on the 13th and final day of the siege of the Alamo. So, it has a great battle sequence, that final one especially. So, yeah, I just love this film so much. I could watch those battle sequences over and over again, and I've done it before. They're just so good. And the rest of the movie overall is a good movie. It's a good dramatic movie. It really captures the tone of what life was like in 1836 with the Texans versus the Mexicans, because they knew they were going to their death. They had to know inside, all the Texans, that they were going to their death, because there was no way they could beat the Mexicans, because, like I said in the original video, the Texans only had 180 to 185 soldiers in their force. the Mexicans had over 2,000. So, and by the way, the scope of the army, like, you get to see the power of the Mexican army through images and all that throughout the movie, and it's like, yeah, the Texans aren't going to win this one. But they fought with bravery, and the Battle of the Alamo turned out to be a pivotal point in the Texas Revolution. So, yeah, I gotta give this movie a 5 out of 5 stars for amazing. It is awesome. It is an awesome movie, and a lot of people probably would go with the 1960 version over the 2004 version, but I go with 2004. The 2004 version. I think it's so dynamic. It's so good. Then again, interesting fact about the 2004 Alamo. It is a huge box office bomb. It's a huge one. $107 million budget, and it only made $25 million overall. I don't understand that at all. I don't. I mean, okay, maybe one reason being that the 1960 version was so classic and endearing in people's hearts that they didn't want to see a remake of it. And the movie did get some negative reviews. I think it was in the 20s in terms of reviews overall. It has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not good. So, and I've heard stories about the film being too conventional, being too faithful, I guess, to the book, to the Battle of the Alamo, the actual events. But, yeah, I'm probably one of the few, again, that likes the 2004 version better than the 1960 version. I think that the 1960 version is a fine film, is a great film. Is a very good film, but the Alamo, the 2004 version, is a great film. So, I mean, again, the performances and the battle sequences really are the driving force behind the success, behind the reason why I think this film is awesome. It really is. I would recommend watching the 2004 version and then going back and watching the 1960 version. So I'd recommend this one first over the 1960 version. But anyway, that is pretty much it for my review on the Alamo, the 2004 version. D-Rock 1992, out.